Hi everyone, and welcome back to day 19 of Christmas in September at Stamp with Anna. And today we're going to start a new set of stamps. And this stamp is the Santa Sleigh stamp, and this is really a fun stamp set. The reindeer and a tree, stockings, a teddy bear, some bows, a star, some presents, and a sleigh. And it has coordinating dies for just about everything that's in this set. So today, all we're going to use for dies is the reindeer. I'm going to put those aside. And for the stamp, we're going to use the reindeer. We're going to make the wreath and the bow that goes with it. And we're going to do a little bit of embossing. So what we need is obviously the Santa Sleigh and the coordinating framelits that are called Santa Sleigh. We need some cherry cobbler cardstock, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. We need some crumb cake, 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And we need some Whisper White, which is 4 by 5 1/4. And additionally, we need a scrap of Garden Green and 2 scraps of cardstock in Cherry Cobbler. And this is 1 inch wide. And I'm not too concerned about the length of it yet, because we're going to trim that to make it fit where we want it. And this is a 1/2 inch wide, and that's in crumb cake. Then for supplies, we're using Garden Green, Cherry Cobbler, and Soft Suede ink. We're going to use the Woodlands embossing folder. We're going to use the Triple Banner Punch, some Wink of Stella, and a Q-tip. So I'm going to show you a fun way to make this coloring on the trees. So let's get started. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is do our stamping. And excuse me, we're going to take the crumb cake piece of cardstock, which is this mat in the middle, and we're going to stamp our reindeer on that, and then we're going to cut him out. So I'm going to ink him up with Soft Suede. And since I'm going to be cutting up this piece of paper, I'm actually going to stamp 2 of him. 1 to use on this project, and 1 to have for another project. They're going to fit, so why not, right? I'll put this one upside down. Okay, and there's our reindeer. The next thing we're going to stamp is, oh, I need a little scrap of Cherry Cobbler. Hold on one sec. Oh, here's a piece. Okay. A little scrap of Cherry Cobbler, and with Cherry Cobbler ink, I'm going to stamp my bow. And I'm going to put that aside. Then with Garden Green, I'm going to stamp my wreath on my little scrap of Garden Green. And that is all the stamping we have to do. So now we're going to do some die cutting. And I think I misspoke when I told you I was only going to use the reindeer. I have to cut my wreath out. The set has a little framelit that goes around the wreath, and you can, it's all symmetrical, so you don't have to worry about lining any particular leaf up. And then this drops down right in the middle. So we're going to cut that out. Then we're going to use the bow framelit to cut out our bow. And then, of course, we're going to use the reindeer framelit to cut out our reindeer. And I'm going to run those through my Big Shot, and I'll be right back. Okay, I have all my pieces die cut, and I'm going to put them aside. I'm going to keep one reindeer, and one I'm going to put away. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to emboss. I should have done this while I was over there. We're going to emboss the Whisper White cardstock with the Sizzix, Sizzix does make it for Stampin' Up, with the Woodlands embossing folder. I'm going to go run this, I'm going to line it up so that I'm going to see like this I wouldn't want because I have too much of a blank space there. So I'm going to just scooch that over, line it up how I think it looks attractive, and I'm going to go run that through. I'll be right back. Okay, and here is my embossed background. And I'm going to take my soft suede, and with the Q-tip, I'm going to make sure it's not fuzzy, it's kind of tight and compact. I'm going to just dab my Q-tip into the stamp pad and then just lightly run it over the trees. And because they're raised, the ink usually will just stay on the tree. But it's it doesn't have to be perfect. It just gives that nice look on the birch trees. And I've done a technique before where I've inked up the embossing folder, but you get a different look with that. And I'm going to do some more on that because I just love this folder to do that. And then I'm just going to lightly do the branches. The branches are a little harder because they're so thin, but it's easy. You can still get a good coverage. And there you go. Our colored in birch trees. And don't those look so much more realistic? I just love that. Now, all we have to do is assemble our card. So the first thing we're going to do is attach our embossed white onto our crumb cake. It's a very thin border all around. Now, I'm going to take some dimensionals and put them on, use them for my reindeer. And let's see, I think I'm going to need to get some new ones. I'm going to put one on his body. Do I have another one? Here. Now, to get the dimensionals for his legs, what I'm going to do is, with my scissors, I'm going to just cut a strip. That's why you never, never, never throw away your dimensionals backing, because you can make tiny strips when you need them. So I'm going to make a couple strips and just put them on his legs. I'm going to cut. There's 3. I'm going to make one more. Alright, the toughest part is getting these on. And because they're little strips, you can bend them so they'll fit right over however the leg is. And one on this leg. Be careful so it doesn't show. And then this last one on this leg. Now I'm going to take the backings off and attach him to my card. This one is coming off. Okay. That one's already off. And there we go. Now on my card, I wanted him towards the bottom. I didn't want to have him like he was floating. So I put him as close to the bottom as I could. So now that's all done. Now we're going to take our 2 little strips of cardstock here. And this one that is cut 1 inch, we're going to just slide it right in the middle groove here on this triple banner punch, and there's our instant banner. Now this punch has grooves for 1, and the middle grooves are 2, and the larger grooves are 3-inch ones. But if you want to make a smaller one, you can certainly do it. We've cut this one at 3/4 of an inch. We slide it in and just check out the 2 sides to see if they're even. We'll hold it down, and then we're going to turn it over, and we're going to see that it's in the center, and punch. And there we go, our perfect banner. Now we're going to just mount this. So I'm going to put a little bit of snail on the back of my crumb cake one, and I'm going to position it so that it fits nicely on my cherry cobbler one. And then I'm going to mount this onto my card. I'm going to put that right about there. And then I'm just going to cut the excess off. On this one here, I had it stop right at the top here, but this one here, I've decided to bring it all the way up to that crumb cake piece. Okay? And now I'm going to mount this onto my card base. Okay, now with a glue pen and my tweezers here, I'm going to mount and attach my wreath right about here, and then my bow. I'm going to just raise this up a tiny bit because I don't want that to be so close to the bottom. All right. Now, that is beautiful in and of itself, don't you think? But, of course, I like glimmer, so I went on my original one and I brought in some Wink of Stella. And just a little bit. I wanted a little bit of shimmer and shine, so I lightly went over my bow. And when I did the bow, I did bring the Wink of Stella all the way to the ends, even though the outline of the bow got covered. I just thought it looked nicer when the whole bow was done. And then for the wreath, I just did these tiny pieces of it. And again, I mean, it's a fine enough tip that it's easy to stay in the lines, but if you don't, it's not a problem. It's a handmade card. It comes from the heart. And then I just did the reindeer, just with straight lines. And for him, I did stay in the line and didn't cover over his outline. And it's a light touch. I'm not applying a whole lot. But I thought since it was a rustic card that this would be a nice little bit of unexpected. There we have it. A beautiful Christmas card. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions at all, certainly contact me through my blog, www.stampwithanna.blogspot.com. And if you still don't have a holiday catalog, certainly let me know and I'll be glad to get one out to you. This bundle actually is not in the holiday catalog. It is in the annual catalog, in the big catalog, under the Christmas section. So I hope you come back tomorrow for day 20 of Santa's Sleigh. Thanks so much. We'll see you then.